The goal is to always go to the solution. All right, what happened? What's the problem? All right, let's solve this, make sure it doesn't happen.
Exactly, and I feel like we entrepreneurs, we're dreamers,
Yep.
and that's something we like to remark in our show is like we are here to share the stories of people who dare to dream. And when you start asking yourself, okay, what I want to be in the future.
When you're an entrepreneur, you need to have that talent. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to be able to solve problems, put out fires when issues happen, gotta put a solution in place, a new strategy, and move forward with that. Learning from your own mistakes is a big deal. I preach this every day to my team, is not to repeat the same mistake twice. You know, once you evolve and you make a mistake, that's okay. Learn from it, don't do it again, and you're just gonna evolve from that strategy.
Hello, my people. Welcome back to a new episode of Making an Impact. This is your host, Gian Lucas. Today, we're here at the amazing facility of MPH Club, being hosted by Liram Sustiel, the entrepreneurial mind and the founder of this amazing company, a leader, I would call it, in the luxury, I would call it more towards the exotic car rental business with all this beautiful collection of cars and this amazing vibe. Lee's story, which is driven by passion, precision, and a lot of effort and sacrifices. So,
Thank you.
Lee, I truly appreciate it. First off, letting us come to your place, to your environment, and I understanding that this is your baby.
Yeah.
This is your life creation.
Correct.
And secondly, and more importantly, I would say, being open about sharing your story and bringing some awareness to our audience and the people that might be watching this conversation, and why not creating some inspiration? So
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Of course. First of all, thank you so much for having me here and that amazing intro. And I love talking about it because it inspires me and it reminds me how I got here and try to keep me a little humble. Would love to talk about it and share my story.
Of course. And you know, the first thing, and we were talking about it a little bit off camera. I attended so far 2 of your events that you've been hosting here at the MPH Club facility. And one thing I see between the MPH Club, you, and the community behind you is a passion for cars.
Yeah.
Not simple cars, because we know cars are material, like they're toys. But when you get to this level of exotic and luxury cars, I would say, and I'm gonna steal this word that you mentioned off camera, it gets addictive.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder, what drew you into this world?
The exotic cars. So when I was a young child, I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, I went on a family vacation to Key West. And that was my first time ever seeing a Lamborghini. And we're staying in this nice little fancy hotel, and I came downstairs and I walked outside to the valet and I saw a Lamborghini pull up out of nowhere. And it was a Diablo. It was a purple Diablo. And right there, to me, I just stood still. And my mom told me, "What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" Because I just freaked out. I looked like I saw an alien. That's what it looked like to me. It was a spaceship. And to seeing the Lamborghini for the first time in my life really sparked something in my mind, in my energy, in my head, and it changed my life after then. I started being fascinated by these cars and really started researching them a lot, and pulled out magazines and started looking into these cars, and my passion for these exotic cars just grew over the years because I really got interested. Like, hey, why does the doors go up this way? Oh, wow, it's a very fast car. And how much does it cost? And started looking into all the details. And I've been just freaking out about these exotic cars since as a child. And eventually I started asking my mom to buy little toy cars, and my little toy cars turned into little bigger toy cars and eventually turned into the real ones. But that's like where the passion started.
Amazing. And you know, there's there's a connection, obviously, when we are kids and we start developing this passion towards something. We always start with the smaller things, like we start with toys, and then we jump into the big one and the big one, and what's next, and then we reach a point in our lives that we start, and this is mostly in the adulthood, when you start asking yourself, okay, what I want to be in the future. And this is when you start thinking about your life projects.
Yeah.
Okay, is this worth pursuing? Like, should I be going for a business? Should I be start working at a dealership, something related to the cars? At what point you realize you were going to build a business out of your passion?
Oh, I think it hit me when I was like 18, 19 years old. I bought a SL55. It was a brand new Mercedes that just came out, a very expensive car. And when I bought the car, I could afford the down payment and the first payment. That's it. I couldn't afford the rest of the payments that were coming along with it. And that's when I realized, like, I have a problem. I want to be around these high-end exotic cars, and I just couldn't afford them. So I always realized there has to be a better game plan. It took me a long time. It took me 10 years later on until I founded MPH Club to really make it a successful business. But the goal was to own an exotic car, but not spend money on it. Now, I wanted to, buy a Lamborghini, but the second you buy the car, you drive off the lot, you lose 20 to 30% immediately. And that's a big chunk of change. I couldn't afford it. I didn't come from a family with a lot of money. We were doing fine, but I wasn't successful enough to own one of these cars. And when I realized that there has to be another way to offset the expenses. So one day it came to my knowledge, my idea, just to say, what if I just rent these cars sometimes and offset the expenses? Hey, it costs $4,000 a month to finance a Lamborghini. All I need to do is rent it maybe once a month for $1,000 a day, rent it 4 times a month, and I break even and get a free Lamborghini. That was my goal in the beginning. So, look, my background is I do a lot of web design. I'm a computer geek. I build websites, and I took a fake facade online. I didn't even have a name of a company yet. I just took a fake website. I started taking pictures from Google, and I started optimizing the website to get ranked on Google. And I started generating a lot of leads, a lot of inquiries, people who are interested in renting these cars. And I realized, hey, there's a big demand here. A lot of people are interested in renting these cars, but I still couldn't afford to even buy one. I got together with my partner at the time, and we grew some balls and we started a business. We thought of a name, we thought of a concept, and we started buying MPH Club name, the trademark, and start putting together the company, and realized, all right, now we have to go buy our first car. And that was the most challenging thing for me in the beginning, is the financing. These things are not cheap. You have to spend a lot of money to make a little money in this industry. And I went to a good friend of mine who owned a Lamborghini dealership in Miami, and I asked him to sell me a car. So we were working on that for a while. Now, I went from a $50,000 Lexus that I owned to a $300,000+ Lamborghini. The banks were laughing at me, like, who the hell do you think you are? You're not gonna be able to afford this. So I had to put a very big down payment because of that. And it was very hard for me to get the funds. I didn't have money. I maxed out my credit cards. I borrowed money from friends and family. This is not the best financial advice, but that's how I got my first car. I went all in. Me and my partner, we raised the money, we put it down, we got the car. Now that we got the car, it took us a while because about 17 different banks didn't approve us. And on the 17th one, the bank approved us to get the financing. It was very difficult, a bunch of inquiries on my name because of this. And once we got the car, we started celebrating. Hey, we got the car. That was the hard part. Now we got to start renting it before the bill comes. And that's where the process started. We started renting out the car a couple times a month, and we covered the expense. So to us, there's a free Lamborghini. Great, mission accomplished. But then the second month came around, and one client took the car for a full month. That was a big transaction. It was a very expensive rental. And we took that capital and said, we have 2 options, right? One, we could either pay off the expenses, pay off all of our debt, or we could buy another car. And we went with that route. We bought a second car and started the company right there and then. When we bought the second car, that's when the company really started evolving and say, all right, now we have a business here. And we started growing it up. It took a while to get to this point, and that's pretty much like how we got the first vehicle and how we started the company.
Of course. And remarkable, honestly. And you said something that is truly exceptional when it comes to beginning the path, the entrepreneurial path,
Yep.
which is taking a leap of faith. Look, when you start, nobody but the people who love you will believe in you. Nobody. The banks, investors, potential customers. It's your job to demonstrate your value.
Yeah, and especially in this business, man, I didn't have a lot of that. A lot of people didn't support this. A lot of people told me this is not smart. It's not good business plan. You're not gonna succeed. I had a lot of negative in my industry. A lot of people in my circle, my friends, my family, who didn't believe in me, and I felt like I used that as as energy, fuel. And I'm like, I have to prove them wrong. I have to show them that I can make this possible. And I did. It took a while, but that was the motivation that sparked in the back of my head. I never let it go. A lot of my friends told me, this is stupid, don't do this. A lot of my family told me, I'll invest into you, but not in this business. Go do something else. And I didn't get the support that I was looking for. So I had to go, do the hard way, right? And I just jumped in with 2 feet and said, fuck it, let's go. Am I allowed to curse here?
No. And it's interesting that you say that, because sometimes, the people who love you, they're not doing it. They're not being negative because they want to be negative. They're being negative because sometimes they think they're doing this the best thing to protect you.
Yeah.
And that's basically them projecting their insecurities. And it's so important to remember, when you are like on this path of building something for yourself, to be true to yourself. Like, you need to be aware of what your capabilities are and know that you have the tools, whatever time it takes, because it will take a lot of time and effort.
Yep.
But if it happens in a year, then amazing. If it happens in 10, then be prepared to be 10 years working. Like, I don't recall, I think it was George Soros who said, it took me 10 years to become rich overnight. And that's something something a little bit why we created this show, because no, it's not overnight.
Correct.
It's
consistent. It takes years. It takes a lot of time, and building relationships, learning from your own mistakes is a big deal. I preach this every day to my team, is not to repeat the same mistake twice. Once you involve and you make a mistake, that's okay. Learn from it. Don't do it again. And you're just going to evolve from that status. So that's the best way of growing as an entrepreneur, or anybody, even in your personal life. Don't make the same mistake twice. If you're dating a girl and she's cheating on you, move on. Don't make the same mistake, stuff like that. And same thing with business. When you do something wrong and you made a mistake, all right, let's fix that. Let's not do it again. And that's how you're going to evolve and grow as a business as well.
And I always, and this is a personal approach, obviously, but and I use it for my personal matters and business matters. When I see a challenge, when I see a problem, I always like to think in solutions. Mm-hmm. If there's something I can control.
Yeah.
If I cannot even control the situation, I wouldn't even care about it. There's nothing to be done. So
when you're an entrepreneur, you need to have that talent. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to be able to solve problems, put out fires when issues happen, gotta put a solution in place, a new strategy, and move forward with that. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a problem. That's the biggest thing that I have accomplished every day. Is me and my team, we constantly have to find the problems, find solutions, and evolve to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Of course. And that's a valid, if not something that should be in the Bible, honestly.
Right? So, a lot of people say it's common sense, but it's not that common.
When it comes to action, it's difficult to make it common sense. You know what I mean? It's difficult to react that way, because we tend to go we tend to make emphasis on the negative thought rather than a solution to
Yeah.
it. But
The goal is to always go to the solution. All right, what happened? What's the problem? All right, let's solve this. Make sure it doesn't happen again.
I agree, 100% agree. Now, one thing I recall from your events and you're very engaged with the social community, social media community and everything. One thing that I see is how connected you are with the community that is behind MPH Club and you. At what point in your personal life or business you came to the realization that the community was the one who was going to uplift and help you scale your business?
So there was a really cool aha moment, as I like to call it, for social media. We started this business before Instagram was Instagram. So I remember clearly starting the business, and then 2 years later, Instagram came out, and it started blowing up over the first year. It blew up real quick. We service a lot of high-end individuals, and I'm constantly seeing a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, and this is a normal thing for this business, right? Now, when Instagram first came out, we opened up our own Instagram. We take a lot of really cool pictures because it's not hard taking pictures of a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. And we didn't really have a big following until this moment. I met Dan Bilzerian through Instagram. You know who he is, right?
Yes.
So when I met him through Instagram, it was really cool because I'm a guy. He's a guy. He has beautiful hot girls with him all the time. Cool cars, guns, blows up things, very wealthy guy, flies private, and just really cool guy.
Full testosterone. When
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
through his feed, he's like testosterone.
He's a definition of testosterone.
Definition of testosterone.
So it was really cool. And he reached out one day and said, hey, I want to rent some cars. I'm coming to Miami. So I said, absolutely. This is the time where he didn't have millions of followers. He just started. Instagram was new. It was the first year. He barely had 700,000 followers. Didn't even finish a million yet. Didn't get to a million yet. And when we first connected with him, it was through Instagram, and I'm like, wow, I can meet clients on Instagram. This is weird. So we met each other, and he flew in. I delivered 2 cars that he wanted to him to the airport. And it was very weird because I did this for marketing. I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the cars for free if you give me a shout out. If you promote on your Instagram that you got these cars from MPH Club. And I took that risk of saying, maybe this will convert to more clients, and maybe there's something here on social media. And I did that. So he landed. I gave him 2 cars. I said hi to him for 2 seconds. He jumped in the cars and left. I didn't have his number. I didn't have no driver's license, no insurance, absolutely nothing. Just an Instagram message back and forth to, no problem, I'll meet you here. Where's your flight info? All right, I'll meet you there. And then he texted me, I'm landing, or DM me, I'm landing. So I gave him the cars, he left. And it was a Friday to Monday. I was freaking out. The guy took 2 of my cars. What am I doing? Where is he staying? I don't have his number. I don't have insurance. This is the worst idea of my life. This is so stupid. I'm freaking out. Didn't sleep for 3 days. And then on Monday when he leaves town, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, very early. He just DMs me on the way to the airport. So now I'm scrambling. Holy shit, okay, I'm on the way to the airport. Let's go. I run, go as fast as possible. I go to the airport and I wait for him. I literally get there 5 minutes before he does. He pulls up and I'm like, oh, the cars are safe. Nothing's wrong with the cars. They're good. He parks his cars next to the airplane. He gets out, he looks at his phone, he goes, hey, take a picture of me. He hands me his own phone. So I take his phone, I take a picture of him next to the cars, next to the airplane. Took a picture, here you go. He's right there and then. He goes, what is it, at MPH Club? Thanks, bro, I'll see you next time. Posts right there, gives me dap, gets on the airplane and leaves. I'm like, what the hell just happened? This is crazy. All right, he left. He's with 20 girls, by the way. So this is like, there's a lot going on.
It's a normal day in the
Normal
life
thing for
of a
him.
guy.
For me, it's not. 20 girls, 2 cars, 2 SUVs with suitcases. The guy's, he's wearing shorts. He's all built. I'm like, I'm a little intimidated because this is all new to me. And he gives us a shout out, gets on the airplane and leaves. So it's Monday morning. I'm going to my office now and my phone is blowing up. I'm like, what the hell is going on? We got almost 100,000 followers in the first 24 hours because of Dan Bilzerian. We got hundreds of clients requesting for cars. And that's where I said, you know what? this is the risk. I said, let me see if I get my free rental in exchange for a shout out for marketing. It worked. And that right there, I realized Instagram is big. There's something huge here. So we focused a lot on Instagram. Instead of putting digital marketing, flyers, or Google or wherever else, we focused a lot of our attention onto social media. Instagram was our biggest thing, Facebook was big, YouTube, and we just constantly exercised all of our social media platforms. It converted for us a lot more than any other platform would. And Instagram was the day it changed for us for social media. When it first came out, because of Dan Bilzerian, I could say he helped us out in the beginning when we really needed it.
And it's crazy you mentioned that, not only because it's an experience that I would say to any business owner will just blew their mind, but because sometimes when we are going through building a business and we want to have the tangible things immediately, and we are only investing in things that we think will give us the return, the quickest.
I didn't
return.
expect this. Yeah.
And sometimes are the things that cost you. I'm pretty sure there are some operating expenses that you took into account at that moment when you were giving him 2 of the cars. But when you think on the big picture, what's more expensive, running a full marketing campaign, a digital marketing campaign, or just give this guy 2 of your rentals?
Yeah, I didn't expect that. And when it happened, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This guy got a lot of power. And then quickly he blew up. The next year, he got 5 million. The next year, 10 million. Now he's at 20 million followers. He blew up big time. And I see him often. Every time he comes to Miami, we connect again and we take care of him.
And that's amazing as well, because you are obviously building a community, and that it's, like I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, it's driven by a passion.
Yeah.
Which at the end, when you have any kind of relationship, you will be always connected through something. It will be a common interest, on the business side, on the personal side, and you have something incredible, because I feel like the passion that you have connects you both personally and business-wise with your customers. Now, talking about a little bit more about your customers. Renting a car is something, the transaction is something that what we call renting a car.
Yep.
You go rent a car, it's a transaction, you get a car, you go drive it, etc. Now, I've seen something in MPH Club that it removes that feeling and it makes it more as you are getting an experience. How did you craft the experience for your customers?